like you keep convincing yourself that if you just had one more feature, this one feature, then it's going to go boom.
You were working on a piece of IP that ended up becoming ToutApp. That was what you were doing with Brain Trust, right?
Yeah.
Could you maybe share what you had been thinking about, working on? What was kind of that piece of property that first kicked off what became the company ToutApp?
Yeah, so I was working on a very different idea called Brain Trust. And Brain Trust was essentially an online private community where you could have group discussions. And it was for your team or for a club. And so you would sign up, you create a group, it's called the Brain Trust. You would invite people in and you would have discussions. And the whole point of it was group discussions over email is not very good. So you should be able to do it on a centralized place. And at that time, Facebook groups wasn't as big and people still didn't trust Facebook back then. Mailing lists were like the rage. And so we're like, there needs to be a place that's you own and you can just host these discussions. The problem was it tried to get people to change behavior. And it was a period of time where social networks were still all about the feed and not about private groups. Like over the last 10 years, they've really switched from the feed to private groups where they're smaller communities. So we were a little bit early. So it wasn't going anywhere, and I kept adding more features and kept adding more features. I fell into what I teach my founders, which is the one more feature trap. It's like you keep convincing yourself that if you just had one more feature, this one feature, then it's going to go boom. And I kept adding more features, and finally I was like, I just need to email people and tell them that this thing exists. And it was ironic because on one hand, I was trying to replace email. On the other hand, I wanted to send more emails to drive growth. Because email will never die.
Right.
So I created this thing. I copied the code for the landing page, the billing system, and the home page. And I just created this thing over the course of a weekend called Pitch. And Pitch was this thing where you could just log in, you could pick a template, and you can customize it, and boom, it would send out an outbound email.
It was just a web app, right? It was just a web app. If I remember, you couldn't even put bold or italicize, right?
That's right. We couldn't bold anything. It was just plain text email, and you couldn't even send it out of your Gmail account. It went through our own servers, and then it would track if the other person viewed it or clicked on the link, and it would help you send those emails out really quickly. And that, it's unfair to say that I built a business and got it to revenue within 3 days. It was a year of learning with Brain Trust that I was like, nope, got to charge money for it. Nope, won't add any features that it doesn't need. And nope, I'm just going to market it instead of just trying to get people to sign up. That just made it go boom within 3 days and start generating revenues more than Brain Trust did in nearly a year.
Wow. So you did that in a really short period of time. A lot of founders, I know founders that are 500K deep and they still haven't got a sale, right? So you did the absolute opposite of that. And I understand that you're also a big believer in the idea of don't do freemium from day one, right? Charge. I think I understand why you do it, but could you share it with us? Because I think it's absolutely genius. It's basically going to speed up validation and reduce some bias, won't it?
Yeah, ultimately people lie. And it's not because they're lying to you because they're dishonest, which I know sounds counterintuitive. It's because they want to be nice and they don't really know. And so traditional startup advice is go do customer discovery, go build a product that people really want. The truth is, unless you sell them on a product and they buy and swipe the credit card, you will never really know if you're creating something of value. And so I'm not a believer in freemium. I believe that you should have a trial product and you should charge for money, and you should charge a significant amount of money, because with the cost of getting attention these days for your product, you need to be able to be charging a sufficient amount to be able to grow. Otherwise, you're not building a real business.
Right.
And so I always coach my founders on two things. One, build an audience first. Out of that audience, figure out what they really want, then build a product and charge for it. And that's how we coach our founders to go build SaaS businesses.